In this video, I'm going to talk a bit about why knowledge management initiatives often fail. KM as a separate discipline has been around for quite a few years, and from the late 90s and onwards, it became quite a bit of a buzzword. That enthusiasm has died down considerably, and one can see that by the number of searches made for the concept and so on. And this is largely due to the failures that have been associated with it. So I'm going to tackle two of the reasons as to why knowledge management initiatives fail. At the heart of the matter, KM suffers from a lack of an established definition. This is one of the main reasons why strategies, models, technologies, and so on differ very greatly from one another. Everyone can more or less agree that KM deals with knowledge sharing in one way or another. They cannot agree on what is the knowledge that we're supposedly managing or sharing. And second, does KM extend beyond knowledge reuse and knowledge sharing to include knowledge creation? The lack of agreement is very far-reaching, which means that knowledge management can mean something completely different to one person than it can to another. So let's start with the first problem, the most important one. What is knowledge? Normally, the biggest difference comes when IT and business people clash. The difference in the definitions was particularly great in the 90s, but it's still very visible today. The first position, the ones that I've seen IT people take most often, is that knowledge and information are very similar, sometimes identical. They may use the terms interchangeably. You can see this, for example, on knowledge management tools that are available online. Sometimes knowledge refers to information that's more specific. Sometimes I've seen it defined as information about information. Most people that adhere to this view also think that knowledge management is largely a technological discipline, success depending thus on IT solutions that are used to manage documents, improve communication, manage content, and so on. You will see when knowledge management is taught within IT-based programs, I don't mean to generalize, but I have seen this on several occasions, it often has this kind of focus, and at the center of the matter is the system that will solve the problem. The other view that treats knowledge as a richer concept will usually differentiate between explicit and tacit knowledge, where explicit knowledge is codified, found in documents and manuals and so on, and is regarded as less valuable. And on the other hand, one has tacit knowledge, which is intuitive know-how rooted in experience and practice, often context-specific. These would be the skills that an expert possesses, and what would distinguish him from a well-educated novice. To anyone who thinks that this distinction is arbitrary, just ask them the question, why is it that a university cannot produce an expert? After all, they have access to every kind of explicit knowledge available. The expert, whether a business consultant, a craftsman, a chef, or a painter, he can never write a document that could be given to somebody that once they have read it, they would themselves be experts. It simply cannot be done. And it is this rich knowledge that is at the center of knowledge management. And similarly, IT systems take a secondary role when it comes to tacit knowledge transfer, because that is deeply rooted in common practice, teamwork, master-apprentice relationships, and so on. Tacit knowledge represents a main source of long-term competitive advantage because it's richer and implies a deeper level of know-how. It's harder to copy and it's hard to codify. And this is precisely what has not occurred in the application of knowledge management in the last years. And even today, one can still see IT systems billed as knowledge management solutions. And you can find educations online that take a technologically centric approach. And this is fundamentally conflicting with what knowledge management should be from a business perspective. On to point 2 real quick. Unlike the first point, I do not believe there is a right or wrong here. There are basically 2 positions again. The first assumes that knowledge management should only deal with the transfer of existing knowledge, the management of lessons learned. And the second regards knowledge creation as a part of the KM process. So on the one hand, knowledge creation is left to innovation management, while on the other hand, it is a part of knowledge management. The point I'm trying to make here, though, is that unless you define from the beginning what your knowledge management initiative is, then you cannot accurately determine whether it has been a success or not, because different people will have different expectations, different preconceptions about what KM is, and so on. So, two of the reasons that have caused knowledge management to fail over the last years are, first, a very poor understanding of knowledge, particularly within the IT circles, and second, a lack of a definition that defines its scope. Well, that's pretty much it for me today. If you're interested to learn more about KM, please do visit my website. You'll see the address on your screen right now. And I thank you very much for watching.